Yes, good old TJ.
Konnichiwa, Newsguard Blank Guy. Back with another video. And today, guys, we're doing another Fate video on Takagi Kun's channel. First link trip down below. Fate lured the tail of Boudica FateGrand order. I was it the right Boudica. So yeah, you guys wanted me to react to this, so we'll go ahead and get right into it, guys. So before we get to it, like, subscribe on the video. Hit the notification, make sure you click all. Go follow that TikTok page. Just made that little while ago. Incognito Ace. And yeah, guys. Without further ado, let's just get right into it. So, play. So soothing.
During the 1st century in ancient Britannia, there exists an Eastern Celtic tribe known as the Iceni.
Bro, that's nothing but
born into tribal
nothing but a
royalty.
waifu right
Their
here.
queen, Boudica, protects the tribe from skirmishes
Boudica, okay,
between
so
Britannia's other prominent tribes.
That's right, Boudica.
She is proud and valiant, her own name meaning victory. Her husband, King Prasuticus, is kind-hearted and loves her dearly. Together, they are blessed with lovely young daughters. Skirmishes aside, Boudica finds Britannia quite peaceful. She adores her kingdom, from the wind and the earth, to the flowers, plants, springs, streams, insects, birds, and wildlife that surround her. Most of all, she cherishes her people, and will do anything to protect them. Because of this, Boudica is both cheerful and bright, overflowing with motherhood. She openly shows her affection to her companions, seeing most of them as her own children. At the same time,
Oh, that's sweet.
she can be fiercely prideful from her Celtic lineage. Like any loving mother, she adopts a warrior persona when her children are in danger. In the year 43 AD, Britannia is visited by the Roman Empire under Emperor Claudius. The Romans intrude upon the land, establishing several settlements. Wishing to avoid conflict, Boudica opens dialogue and exchange between Emperor Claudius and the Iceni, allowing them to become allies. To secure the tribe's independence in the face of Roman invasion, King Prasuticus, in his will, agrees to share his lands between his own daughters and Emperor Nero, the next in line to the empire.
Oh, and that's
Thankfully,
that
these terms
girl
are agreed
Nero.
upon, and while there is a
Noriad.
revolt in the year 47 AD, Iceni keeps its independence, while its king lives a long and prosperous life with his beloved wife and children. However, between the years 60 and 61 AD, both King Prasuticus and Emperor Claudius die, allowing a young and inexperienced Nero to ascend as Rome's emperor. Suddenly, Rome decides to ignore the king's will, betraying their agreement in favor of claiming all of Britannia's lands. The Romans deprive nobles of their estates, impose heavy taxes, and resort to recruiting Britannian slaves. Naturally, the people look upon Boudica as the Queen of Britannia to protest these atrocities. When she stands up for her people, however, she is insulted and brutally flogged by the Roman militia. Much worse, her daughters are taken from her, subjected to repeated raping. Boudica, bleeding from both body and heart, cannot stand for this, deciding to rebel against the Romans who betrayed her. She steals her charisma
As
and
anyone
brings
would.
together kings from all over Britannia, invoking her people's god, Andraste, as a prayer for victory. With a massive force gathered behind her, Boudica releases a
I'm gonna
hare.
pause right here. So, do you blame Boudica though? Like, do you blame her? Like, when y'all do the same thing, if you had children that were daughters or whatever, and then you just got beat, they just got what you call it? I guess this is what you can say. They got taken advantage of. I don't know how we can say that to make it PG on YouTube. But yeah, we know what happened. Basically, they got taken advantage of. So with all that happening, when you go in, you know what I'm saying, go ahead and, you know, go full throw at the other army. I mean, I know I would. Would you? I'm just saying. Leave me comments down below. All right, play.
Sacred to the goddess from her gown, announcing, "Let us therefore go against the Romans, trusting boldly to good fortune. Let us show that they are hares and foxes, trying to rule over dogs and wolves. I thank you, Andraste, and call upon you as woman speaking to woman. I beg you for victory and preservation of liberty." Despite the fact that the Britannians had been disarmed before their rebellion, their determination, suffering, tears of blood, and impressive numbers carry them through. Together, the rebels trample down 3 critical Roman settlements in Camulodulum, Londinium, and Verulamium. Driven by hatred, Boudica exacts her vengeance, not simply upon soldiers, but also Roman children and young mothers like herself, tearing down her foes in a berserk rage. The Romans are severely outmatched, 10,000.
I think that's
to
gone a
the
little bit too
rebels'
far with the children and
200,000.
everything like that, though.
Is, until the arrival of the Roman army governor, Suetonius
Shit.
Paulus. Using careful planning to compensate for his lack of forces, the governor selects his battlefield at Watling Street, a narrow gorge. Behind his army lies a dense forest, while the other end of the gorge opens up into wide plains. It serves as an ideal locale to funnel in the rebels, killing their numeric advantage. From the plains, Boudica accepts the governor's challenge, charging forth on her chariot. The chariot itself represents Britannia, and she uses it to protect her troops, as well as her daughters who ride inside with her. Tragically, this proves to be a foolish tactic. As Boudica's forces rush into the gorge, they are picked off by enemy javelins raining from above. This exhausts their shields,
You hate to see
rendering
it.
them vulnerable in close quarters combat against the more properly armed Romans. The rebels congest the channel, becoming victim to Roman lancers. By
They're
the
like,
time
on it.
Boudica calls for a decisive retreat, their escape is cut off by a ring of wagons. Trapped, the rebels are horribly massacred, suffering a severe loss of 80,000 soldiers to Rome's relative 400 casualties. On the verge of death,
80,000?
Boudica gains strength from recalling the nightmarish raping of her daughters, their thin voices begging for mercy. Refusing to abandon justice, she fights to her end. Her dearest wish, one that she would relay onto the Holy Grail, is to bring peace to Britannia. She wishes for the fairies, Celtic gods, and people of different nations to
That's one way to
unite
go
and
out.
laugh at their children living in paradise. This, shamefully, does not come to pass, as the rebellion is crushed in a single battle. While Boudica never lives to learn this, Emperor Nero hears of the travesties her people committed, reprimanding her own generals, and even considering withdrawing from Britain altogether. Ultimately, though, Britain's occupation resumes, its people being incorporated into Roman
80,000
provinces.
though, that's crazy.
Regardless of her loss, Boudica is remembered as the Queen of Victory in Britain, having won many victories in the face of hardship and injustice. She is enshrined in the United Kingdom and commemorated with a bronze statue in London depicting her atop her chariot. Through this fame, Boudica is recorded into the Throne of Heroes. In the modern era, humanity fights against its incineration by the demon god hive mind Getia. The Chaldea Security Organization sends its master, Ritsuka Fujimaru, to various singularities throughout history, with the mission of obtaining holy grails and restoring the human order. One such singularity happens to occur in Rome during Emperor Nero's rule. The Singularity's grail summons various free servants who complicate and distort history as
Was
it was
that the
meant to
third
be.
singularity, right?
Among them,
Or was it the fifth?
Boudica finds herself summoned in a time after her own historic death. While she could have been summoned as a berserker, she is most compatible with the rider class, which emphasizes her sword of justice and maternal power. Her body takes the form she had in her earlier years in life.
Oh, because of chariot
She
too,
sees
so
it as quite fortuitous
sense,
to be
being a rider.
returned to her own time, and considers taking revenge on her nemesis, Nero. And yet, this doesn't happen. The major disturbance in the history of the era happens to be the emergence of a new army, the United Roman Empire, a force much more chaotic than Nero's Rome. Caught in a war between two different Romes, Boudica decides to side with her nemesis, not out of forgiveness, but through a common goal, After all, it is Nero's Rome that assimilated her Britannian people, and now they are faced with an even greater threat. Thus, Boudica joins Nero's army, refusing to mention that she is a heroic spirit.
I'm gonna pause for like the last time. I just want to ask, so like, okay, I know Nero's people did that, right, to Boudica's people, right? Like basically decimated all of the Boudica's people. The thing I want to ask, and I wanted to talk about with pausing the video, is like, Emperor Nero, she didn't ask them to do that. They just did that just to do it, and tried to pull him back out of Britain anyway, out of the United Kingdom. So if you knew that as Boudica, would you still have like malice, like what you call it, ill will towards her? Like, would you have like that what's that word called, uh hostility? Would you be hostile towards have that hostility towards Nero, or would you be able to like just cut her some slack off that because she wasn't the one that actually made them do that? They just did that on their own accord. I just want to know. Let me know in the comments down below. Alright guys, let's get back to it. So play.
An actual living human, nor does she inform Nero of her death. She befriends Spartacus, who finds himself in a similar situation, viewing the United Roman Empire to be the greater of two evils. While stationed at an encampment near the front lines, Boudica is introduced to Ritsuka Fujimaru and their servant Mashu Kyrielite. Nero has no idea Boudica is a heroic spirit, but it doesn't take long for Chaldea's master and servant to figure it out. Boudica asks them not to tell Nero, as it will only complicate matters further. To test her new allies, she challenges Mashu to a battle, and through fighting, finds camaraderie in how they both use shields. Respecting Mashu's will to protect, Boudica accepts her and Ritsuka as worthy allies, acting like a big sister toward them. Boudica shares her love by cooking her tribe's cuisine and lovingly glomping Mashu into her voluptuous bosom. While she comes off as overly affectionate, the three of them begin to develop a close bond. In battle, Boudica fights in both offensive and defensive styles. In addition to her shield, she wields the Sword of Boudica, sword without promised victory, a one-handed blade imbued with her people's wishes for justice. It is not a holy sword, but when its name is invoked, it can fire a barrage of mana projectiles.
That's cool. That's dope.
More famously, she rides the Chariot of Boudica, chariot without promised protection. By activating this noble phantasm, she invokes the protection of Celtic gods, granting her chariot the ability to fly around her allies, protecting them like an extension of her shield. Boudica serves as a valuable asset in Nero's army, helping to defeat various enemy emperors. Despite her strength, however, she is taken captive for a time by Alexander the Great and used as bait to lure in Nero.
Wow.
Thankfully, she is rescued with the help of Ritsuka's party. Nero's forces eventually move in to confront the United Roman Empire at its home base, where they face off with Romulus and the true villain of the Singularity, the demon god Flauros. They push Flauros into a corner, pressuring him to summon one final servant, Altera. Altera quickly becomes a threat to everyone in the Singularity, yearning to decimate the world with her photon ray. She releases its power on the base, nearly killing Ritsuka and their allies. The only reason they survive is because Boudica uses her chariot to protect them.
Oh, I like that look of her right there. Like,
allows Ritsuka's party to vanquish
up to date,
Altera and procure the Singularity
like a country
Grail.
girl look.
While Boudica
That's dinner,
disappears
right?
as a result, she is later summoned by Ritsuka through Chaldea's fate system, where she can continue to assist through a legitimate master-servant contract. Her smiling, kind, maternal qualities shine forth as she inhabits Chaldea, even managing to set aside her hatred for Roman servants.
Oh, that's good.
To meet Artoria
She able to
Pendragon and
forgive.
the Knights of the Round Table, finding the King of Knights adorable and respectable for protecting Britain when she could not. She takes to all heroic spirits of the British Isles as her own children, offering to bake them galette, a form of flat cake. On one occasion, she takes over Chaldea's kitchen to prepare a lunch for Ritsuka and Mashu when they ray-shift to Britannia's forests. Together, they vanquish an outbreak of goblins and proceed to merrily appreciate the nature of her lands. She recalls her wish to bring peace, prosperity, and laughter to all, and realizes that by helping Ritska, she's making her own wish come true, one step at a time. While she won't say it aloud, this makes Boudica cry tears of absolute joy.
Oh, that's what's up. That's cool. Making our own dream come true, basically, like that. It's pretty cool. Alright, so going off right there, the Fate lore of Boudica. That's actually pretty cool. Like I said, at the end like that, she actually forgave, like, cause that's actually that's really hard to do for like a lot of people, especially like over years of like forgiving somebody or some people for doing certain things to you, and that you just either hold a grudge to it or you forgive. Most people hold grudges, which you should never do, kids. But anyway, yeah, that was pretty cool. Like I said, that's pretty good, pretty informative of Boudica. So yeah, so actually what we have to do now is we have to do that Tish 4 video. We have to do that Tish video on her skills and abilities, see if there's anything that we missed on this video. So we have to get into that one next after I do this one here. So yeah, guys, like, subscribe on the video, hit the bell notification, turn on notice, hit all. And yeah, without further ado, INCOG, I'm out. Peace.